Hi everybody! The topic of the day today is Cabernet Sauvignon. I decided to talk about this today because I've done vlogs on some more obscure grape varieties recently, and I kind of wanted to stick to one that people would know today because I feel like there's a few people that follow this vlog that are just starting to learn about wine. And this is an international red grape variety that if you're just getting to grips with wine and learning about all the different wines out there, this is definitely one that you need to know about. So Cabernet Sauvignon is it originated from the southwest of France, hence why it always has that association with Bordeaux. But it wasn't always a Bordeaux grape. It wasn't really a Bordeaux grape up until the 1700s. And before that time, believe it or not, the grape that you tended to see a lot more in Bordeaux was actually Malbec. But what happened was in the 1600s, there was an accidental cross between two other grape varieties called Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc, which of course we know, and I haven't done a vlog on Sauvignon Blanc yet, but I will do. So that's how Cabernet Sauvignon came around. So the parent grapes are Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc. But that didn't happen until the 1600s. So then it wasn't until the 1700s that Cabernet Sauvignon really started to thrive. And that was all thanks to growers in Bordeaux like Mouton. So Mouton was one of the early kind of advocates for the grape, and he started to plant Cabernet Sauvignon in Bordeaux. And of course, we know that was a success because today we have Chateau Mouton and Mouton-Rothschild, which of course is a very prestigious producer. So this was how it all came about. Now, the actual grape itself is a late ripener, so it doesn't do well in areas where if there's an early winter. It really can struggle with that. And the grape berries themselves are very small with very thick skins. So it is a good grape for the French climate in that area because it can get very cold and windy on the left bank of Bordeaux. So that's why Cabernet Sauvignon does so well on the left bank. It's a really strong, tough grape because of its skins, and also because of its skins it is very high in tannin because the berries are so small. The pulp versus the pulp skin ratio is quite balanced. So you've got a lot of grape skin per pulp, so that's why they're very high in tannin, and they can be very high in alcohol as well. They tend to be moderate to high in acidity, so that's why people often know about Cabernet Sauvignon because it makes a really great food wine as well. Cabernet Sauvignon does really well with oak aging, hence the fact that there are so many very old bottles of Bordeaux that are collectible because Cabernet Sauvignon Bordeaux is just very, very unique and produces really great expressions of the grape if it's aged for 20, 30 years. Now, in a young Cabernet Sauvignon that hasn't been aged for many, many years, you tend to get mostly dark fruit flavours. So you'll get black cherry, blackcurrant, blackberry. And then in some of the New World places, you can get eucalyptus. Particularly Australia really is known for having hints of eucalyptus. Not that you can't get herbaceous notes in Bordeaux. I mean, a lot of people often talk about mint aromas and flavours in a Bordeaux Cabernet Sauvignon. Also, one of the things Chateau Margaux in Bordeaux is known for its Cabernet Sauvignon, is like violets as well. But you always have to remember that in Cabernet Sauvignon that's made from Bordeaux, it is usually blended. It's not a single varietal. So really the best way that you can, if you've never tried Cabernet Sauvignon and you really want to understand how the grape tastes in its purest expression, you might want to try a New World Cabernet Sauvignon that isn't a blend, because then you'll get more of an idea of the grape on its own. when the Cabernet Sauvignon is aged in oak barrels, you will get other flavours than those dark fruits that I've mentioned. You know, you'll get vanilla or cedar or caramel flavours as well. But whether you get vanilla or cedar and cinnamon, for example, may depend on the kind of oak it's aged in, because American oak tends to give off more vanilla flavours, whereas French oak tends to give off more cedar, cinnamon, nutmeg type flavours. And in those very, very old expressions of Cabernet Sauvignon, that's where you're going to see some really unusual, those tertiary aromas, which are like leather and coffee and tobacco and things like that. But that tends to be the ones that are much older. So I think this is just a good introduction. I didn't want to make this vlog really long, but for anyone who's never tried Cabernet Sauvignon, there are various places in the world that I recommend you could try one from. If you want to try the French Bordeaux style, you could try a Bordeaux blend with Cabernet Sauvignon being the main dominant grape in the blend. But just remember that it is a blend, so it won't be just the flavours of Cabernet you're getting. If you want to try a single varietal, you could maybe go for an American Cabernet Sauvignon, like a Napa Valley. The main difference is it will probably be a bit more fruit driven if you try a Californian Cabernet Sauvignon. And then if you're interested in trying one of those that has those really herbaceous notes with the eucalyptus and the mint, you could maybe try an Australian one. Particularly in Coonawarra, they do really exceptionally good Cabernet Sauvignon. That's what they're really known for. And if you want to try it blended with Shiraz, the Barossa Valley is one of those places that is known for doing Cabernet Sauvignon blends with Shiraz. So that's a little bit about Cabernet Sauvignon. Hopefully it hasn't been too much and you don't feel like it's been an information overload. If you have a specific favourite Cabernet Sauvignon, I would really like to know. So let me know in the comments.